Plot. Imagine for a moment you were God, capable of dooming England through a catastrophic explosion. This is far from the storyline of any historical fiction, but an actual conspiracy that posed a grave threat to the very pillars of the English monarchy and Parliament in the year 1605. We're delving into the Gunpowder Plot, a ploy hatched by a faction of dissatisfied Catholics aiming to murder King James I and annihilate the Parliament. With religious tensions characterizing the era, England's Catholics experienced oppression under Protestant command. This conflict laid the ground for a daring plot steered by primary plotters like Robert Catesby and the notorious Guy Fawkes. Their mission? To assume the role of God and reshape the path of history with barrels of gunpowder. A bold plan it was, but how did events unfold? Buckle up and let's explore further. It all began with a meeting of minds, a gathering of conspirators. In the shadows of the Duck and Drake Inn, 5 men convened, each with a singular purpose: to overthrow a king. Their names were Robert Catesby, Thomas Wintour, Thomas Percy, John Wright, and Guy Fawkes. Each held a crucial role in what would become known as the Gunpowder Plot. Catesby, the mastermind, had the vision. He was a man of conviction and charisma, with a burning desire to see Catholicism restored in England. Thomas Wintour, a seasoned soldier, offered his military expertise. His cousin Thomas Percy, a man of influence, provided access to the corridors of power. John Wright, a skilled swordsman, was their protector, and Fawkes, an experienced soldier and explosives expert, held the most dangerous role of all. Their plan was audacious in its simplicity. They aimed to dig a tunnel beneath the House of Lords, fill it with gunpowder, and ignite it during the state opening of Parliament. The explosion would annihilate King James I and his government, leaving the way open for a Catholic restoration. Their meeting at the Duck and Drake Inn marked the beginning of months of meticulous planning. The conspirators secured leases on properties near the Parliament, painstakingly dug their tunnel, and smuggled in over 36 barrels of gunpowder. They were painstaking in their efforts, careful to avoid any suspicion. Each step was cloaked in secrecy, each action a calculated risk. The tension must have been unbearable, the stakes unimaginably high. Yet they pushed on, driven by their faith and their desperation. The air was thick with anticipation and fear as they worked on their deadly masterpiece beneath the very heart of English power. In the end, their plan was as daring as it was dangerous, as ruthless as it was revolutionary. It was a plot that, had it succeeded, would have changed the course of history. In the dark beneath the Parliament, the conspirators set their plan in motion. Underneath the heart of English governance, a deadly secret was taking shape. The conspirators, a group of determined Catholics, began the arduous task of digging a tunnel. They were driven by a singular purpose: to install a deadly payload directly beneath the House of Lords, the symbol of Protestant supremacy. Toiling in the gloom, the conspirators faced a gauntlet of challenges. The earth was stubborn and unyielding, the air thin and riddled with the stench of damp soil. Every clink of their tools against the stubborn rock risked detection, but they persevered. Their resolve was as solid as the stone they sought to penetrate. Luck, it seemed, favored the audacious. As their tunnel neared completion, fate presented them with an unexpected boon. A cellar directly beneath the House of Lords became available. The opportunity was too perfect to pass up. They abandoned their tunnel and secured the cellar, a gift from the providence that seemed to be guiding their hand. Now, the real work began. 36 barrels of gunpowder were procured and transported with utmost care into the belly of this beast. Each barrel, a potential herald of death and destruction, was carefully placed to cause maximum damage. It was a macabre dance of death, choreographed with precision. The cellar was transformed into a dragon's den, brimming with deadly fire waiting for release. An inferno, capable of altering the course of history, lay dormant beneath the very feet of those they sought to overthrow. Every barrel was a testament to their resolve, their desperation, and their willingness to dance with death itself. The gunpowder, a symbol of their defiance, sat silently, its lethal potential masked by the mundane appearance of the barrels. The fuse was set, the stage was ready. All that remained was to light the match. The plot was poised on the edge of a knife. teetering between success and failure, ready to plunge England into chaos or to fade into the annals of forgotten history. But what if a single letter could unravel an entire plot? This is the question we're left with as we delve deeper into the thickening plot of the Gunpowder Conspiracy. In the shadows of the night, a letter, anonymous and cryptic, found its way to Lord Monteagle. A Catholic himself, Monteagle was warned not to attend the opening of Parliament. The message was vague, yet it carried a chilling undertone of danger. The letter urged him to avoid the House of Lords on the 5th of November, implying a looming catastrophe. Monteagle, puzzled by this clandestine warning, took the letter to Robert Cecil, the King's chief minister. The contents of the letter, shrouded in mystery, stirred a sense of urgency in Cecil. He knew something ominous was brewing and that they needed to act swiftly. In response to the vague threat, a thorough search of the Parliament cellars was ordered. It was there in the gloom, amid barrels of beer and bundles of firewood, they discovered a man. This wasn't just any man. This was Guy Fawkes, a soldier of fortune and one of the conspirators in the plot. He was standing guard over 36 barrels of gunpowder, enough to reduce the entire Parliament to rubble. The discovery of Fawkes, the gunpowder, and the impending plot sent shockwaves through the kingdom. The authorities moved quickly, apprehending Fawkes and subsequently rounding up the rest of the conspirators. It was a swift and decisive action that prevented a disaster that could have reshaped the course of history. So, a single anonymous letter, full of veiled warnings and cryptic messages, led to the unraveling of a plot that could have changed the face of England forever. It goes to show sometimes the smallest of actions can have the most profound of impacts. In a twist of fate, the plot was foiled, the conspirators arrested. The course of history was altered not by an explosion, but by the quiet delivery of a letter in the dead of night. The fallout of the Gunpowder Plot was swift and severe. The conspirators, once united by their audacious plan, now stood divided by their impending fate. The trial was a spectacle, a public display of justice meted out by the crown. Each conspirator, including the infamous Guy Fawkes, faced the grim reality of their actions under the harsh gaze of the law. Their fate was sealed, execution, a brutal end for a plot conceived in shadows. In the wake of this failed rebellion, the atmosphere in England grew tense and fraught. The Catholic community, already viewed with suspicion, bore the brunt of the nation's fear and anger. They had been trying to carve out a space for their faith in a predominantly Protestant kingdom, but the Gunpowder Plot only served to deepen the divide. The persecution of Catholics intensified, their religion becoming synonymous with treachery in the eyes of many. The plot had not only failed to elevate the Catholic cause, but it had also severely backfired, pushing them further into the margins. But the fallout of the Gunpowder Plot wasn't limited to trials and persecution. The failed attempt to blow up the House of Lords gave birth to a new tradition, Guy Fawkes Night, an annual commemoration of the plot's failure. Every 5th of November, the air of England is filled with the crackle of fireworks and the warmth of bonfires. Effigies of Guy Fawkes, the face of the plot, are burned in a symbolic representation of the triumph of order over chaos. This tradition serves as a stark reminder of a time when the nation stood on the precipice of disaster. The Gunpowder Plot, a near disaster, turned into a symbol of unity and resilience, forever etched in the annals of British history. The conspirators may have intended to shake the foundations of the kingdom, but their actions ultimately strengthened the unity of the realm, reinforcing the nation's resilience in the face of adversity. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed this sneak peek into the shadows of history. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Yours truly, the Decent Tattler.